that we have going on here, and because you were in the quintet before, meaning that I think you went with the last match you had was with Chris Dempsey, which was a big deal because Chris was wrecking everybody, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but he was looking good. He was running through people up until he got to you, and then you were able to draw it and get him out of there finally and give everybody a chance because Chris was on fire that day, like on fire. I've heard so much about that since then. Like they're like, who is that guy that got killed everybody? You know, like he was on his spec. I've never seen him roll, so I don't know if he was just on fire that day or if that's how he is all the time. I'm assuming he's probably pretty darn good.
Yeah. You watch any of his matches, he's like crazy front headlock, you know, the Dempseycutioner, I believe they call, I don't know the technical term. I know he hates calling it that. That's his move. He was putting people in it. And, you know, and I know people talk about me surviving, but people like Jacob LeMaster not putting it on him, but really like making him work for it. And Nate Hedrick will be on that quintet. You know, he tired him out a little bit for me, you know, so but yeah, Dempsey definitely, he's not going to be on at this time. He's in Poland for Worlds, which is pretty awesome, I think.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, repping the United States against, it's like a world team, like not Olympics, but like the Worlds for wrestling, maybe. But he's repping the United States. He's got a rash guard with the USA logo, and there's like 3 Pittsburgh guys on that team. So that's pretty. He's up doing something that's. But you know, they got now Isaac, Richard Roby, Matt Schaefer, Eric McAlpine, and Jacob Lowry, and that's also a stacked team, I think.
Yeah, and it works out. So like originally, it was going to be kind of confusing for me as the promoter for that, meaning that when I knew Chris got selected to Poland, I was like, man, I don't know what to do because I don't want to be unfair. Now, on the one side, I'm like, well, that's their strongest member. I'm assuming that team's not going to really complain that the strongest guy's leaving the other team, right?
Yeah.
But it kind of worked out that they also had some issues with, you know, coming down. So basically, we have 2 new teams still controlled by the same group. So it's like this still like nothing went too crazy, but they were allowed to pick some other people. So let's kind of like, since you kind of already went through that and you remember most of the names, I've got them written here, but let's go through those guys. And obviously both of us know Matt Schaefer, so let's kind of start with him real quick. What's your thoughts on these guys?
I just watched Matt compete. He looked good. He was. I hadn't seen him compete for a long layoff, and one of his opponents was very good. Emil Fisher made a very complimentary post about how he hadn't seen him compete in a long time. I've seen Matt compete once and twice against me, and then and he's looking good. He's a nice guy, but just an animal on the mat. I think he'll do well. He's got, you know, a great game. I don't want to say too much and I won't say much about West Virginia because I probably wrestle with all these guys. Yeah. But I think he'll do fairly well. I think he has the potential to really get some finishes, if not finishes, you know, maybe some strategy to really draw out the members or draw out the team and tire them out where it goes to a draw. So not saying he can't finish somebody. I know if he saw this, he wouldn't take it that way, but you know, just definitely a gamer though. Like he is nicest guy I've ever met in my life, but he almost took my arm home with him, and I did not expect that from him. So he's a great guy. Got 1 second left on the match, and he just took my lunch money with it. So I'm excited to see him again.
No, and like you said, man, he's awesome. Like one of the best people that I've been around. He visited our gym once, and I used to love to watch him and Noah compete back in the day when they were together, you know, doing some stuff. So I look forward to seeing him. And now we've got Rich Roby. Was he on the last team, or is he one of the replacements?
He's a replacement. And Roby is, I think people in the South don't know who he is. He's a really good friend of mine. And we were just up at that 247 card. And Roby went against Max Hansen. If anyone follows jiu-jitsu, Max Hansen trains under Dante Leon at Artemis. And he's a dog. And he took it on 4 days notice, both of them, 4th day notice. And Roby made it to the last 10 seconds. Unbiasedly, I thought Roby was winning the exchanges, and it was razor sharp. It could have gone either way, but he ended up getting caught in the last 10 seconds. But Roby lives in the gym. He drills. He cross-trains everywhere. Won Pans at purple belt. Or if he didn't win, he's silver medal, but I'm pretty sure he won. He is, if they don't know who he is, they will, you know, and I think he's a great leg locker. He'll probably get me for saying that, but he's great at all kinds of things. But you know, he's a leg lock connoisseur.
Yeah, well, I look forward to it. And then we've got, just going no particular order here, but Isaac Greeley, who obviously is kind of heading up their team, but he was supposed to have a match with Gray Maynard recently. I know they got can't. Did it happen or did
it happened? Same card as Roby. He was the main event, and goddamn, that was a good match. Sorry for my
was it really
match? Yeah, it was really close. I think Gray Maynard held a seminar after at Isaac's gym. Like that's how cool it was. But yeah, they had another great match. Gray Maynard took it by split decision, if not split decision, just decision. But it was close. Gray Maynard kind of he bullied the first half because that's his name. He's very strong as he looks, is pretty much what I was told. But Isaac kind of made that comeback, and Isaac, he's asleep. Like he's one of the nicest guys that I've ever met. He's pretty much like adopted me into his gym. But I mean, anytime I roll with him, he's just seconds ahead of me all the time. You know what I mean? And I'll come back with something to try and trick him, and I can't get that leg or I can't get that position on him. Like he just, he's if it gets, I would imagine they make him like the last leg. But he is every bit as tough as everyone else in that team.
Yeah, he's on. And to his credit, I just want to add this, which has zero to do with his skill level, but I wanted to say this too: at the last tournament, he took some matches with some whites and blue belts just to help him out, and it was super, super nice. Meaning, like he let them work a little bit, and then was very complimentary to him after. And I bet, like to those guys, that probably meant the world. And he didn't have to do that; like he asked to do that. That's very nice of him.
Oh man, like Isaac is like Isaac does all these like kind things for people. And he will 100%, he'll never talk about it. He's just such a good guy. Like I thought I heard about that, but I kind of forgot about it because that's how little they talk about it and how little involved I was. Because at the same time, my dude, one of my grapplers, pulled his shoulder out, dislocated his shoulder, and they were helping him. They were helping him replace it. So he does all these things. He coaches MMA, and someone gets knocked out by his fighter. Julian Flannery like knocks everybody out in like less than a minute. And he'll go and like make sure the other guy's okay before he takes care of his fighter who's clearly okay. Like they have a bad rap in like all the East Coast, but they're like the nicest people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I could same thing. I only met them that day, but like I'm very impressed. Right, those guys are awesome. I'm glad they're gonna be back. So next up is Jake Lowry.
Dog.
Yeah, about Jake here.
Dog. So he's one of my friends. He's we were supposed to have a match together last week, but we decided since we were teammates and honestly, he would just we did practice sparring situational mat, and he just dogged me in every position. But he is very competitive, heavy hands, but quick and very good college wrestler. I'm not sure his pedigree. I know he's an undefeated MMA fighter, so undefeated in the amateurs and undefeated as a professional. I think his last fight was against a guy from Daniel Cormier's gym, AKA, and I didn't see it because this is the time I wasn't super close with the Math Factory, so I just didn't really watch the matches, but I was aware of it. And Jake is probably, and if he's not, he's gritty. You know what I mean? Like and I think that's why, like with me, it kind of like he's grittier than I am, and that's my strength. So he'll just absolutely just like bully you. And he had a match last weekend too against Justin Roberts where he won. And it went into overtime too, but I remember specifically, and Justin Michael is Justin Michael is an absolute animal, but Jake Lowry just absolutely was overtime, and Jake just did not break his stare and people were cheering for overtime, and Jake did not, like he wanted it. And I was like, I told him, like, dude, you got me hyped up. Like, I love overtime, and he like just was not like that warrior spirit. Like, good luck to whoever has him, man. Like, and the other team's no slouch either, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, that's like every match I could possibly imagine in my head. I'm like, fuck, that's gonna be a good one.
I know this worked out really good. I mean, like I said, with the changes, it still worked out.
I think it's better.
Even better.
Yeah, I think by far. I think it's more even. I hate to say that they lost some of their A game guys, but like Zack LaCrone or Dempsey, but like, I mean, in terms of excitement, fuck yeah, that's what I want. You know what I mean? Like as a fan,
Well, and that's the rest of it. We're all fans, right? Like we're excited for this thing. It's gonna be good. Now they're again not in any kind of order because we don't know what their order is going to be. But the last one I have on there is McAlpine. What can you tell me about him?
I had a match against him last year. He is again, one of the nicest people I ever met. He's like, hey man, if you're in Pittsburgh, imagine the guy just like dominating you and it's like inviting you to his home, and he's just like, yeah, man, if you're in town, just let me know. Like, I don't even have to coach you, you just, if you have a tournament, I'll just give you some support because, I'm always alone at these tournaments, and so, yeah, super nice guy. In terms of technique, I think it's very hard he was much like Trenton, I think, where it's hard to really not put him in a bad position. It's hard to put him in a bad position. I've spent most of our matches fighting off a Kimura, and I had a Kimura, and he pretty much just picked me up like a baby. I just remember I was stuck on the side, and he just picked me up, and I was like, well, I don't know how I'm going to pull this out. Like, how am I going to pull this out? And I ended up not doing it. But he's another one that I think is just another probably just great member of their team that I think can contribute to some good matches. If he had Wes or even Ryan, their smaller member, I think that'd still be a good match because Ryan's a little scrappy dude. So
yeah, well, he did really good. I mean, that's what people don't like, may or may not know, or they had other matches leading up to this championship. This is a culmination of everybody going at it. It's funny because not everybody knows that. And the reason I bring it up, I made a post and people are like thinking they still could make teams for this. I was like, no, they've already went, Yeah. But that being said, Ryan did great in the last one when they were here against, it wasn't really McKinney's time, right?
It was a Tartarus kid that was like, he was a white belt, but he was putting it on him. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's all that matters. So if we go over Ryan, like Ryan, I never heard of Ryan before. And I was kind of like, I hate to say it, I thought he was a white belt. So I was like, until he started grappling, oh, this guy knows something. And I thought purple belt. Ryan is like he was scrappy. He really impressed me because he just went out there. It was all on the line and went into overtime. And this was the overtime where it was EBI overtime because of the two last people. And it was just guts, you know what I mean? Just straight up guts. He was way smaller than the other dudes, that's why I struggled, but he pulled it out, and so I don't know much about his technique. I don't have much about his strategy. I just know that whoever would go against him is gonna have to deal with trying to pin him down.
Yeah, he's tough. He's coming, trained with our guys at the gym a couple of times. Good guy. Really enjoyed talking to him. And like I said, it's just, you've competed against most of these guys. That's why you've got the
inside scoop.
Yeah, but you have it with Ryan, so it's not like a slight on him. It's just the one guy.
Yeah, that's the only. If I competed against him, I probably would have talked to him. And I have talked to him slightly. And I think everyone sees me, I'm the nicest guy ever. You know what I mean? You can always just come up and talk to me. And I am critical of people and their techniques if they're holding back, if they're sandbagging. But I've never say anything negative about people. And, Ryan, that's nothing negative. It's more of just, it's just I don't know much about you, but I do know enough to know that you're a handful. So
yeah, no, it's gonna be awesome. And then well, let's just start with the head of their team, which was Wes Thompson, who put this team together after they had some dropped out here. So I mean, I think you've competed against Wes. I've seen Wes go in most of our tournaments. He's either had super fights or jumped in, black belt and did everything. So he's a beast as well.
Yeah, he's really improved since his match with Zack Wiles. His match against Zack Wiles, I thought he was going to beat Zack, and Zack beat him in overtime, I believe. And then since then, he's been on like this tear, and he just absolutely he just gets better and better. I was like, I thought he got a little fatigued against Zack. So in my mind, I was like, oh, that's my strength. But no, we've gone against each other like 3 times, and it's not even close. It's just dominant pressure on top of you. I don't care that I weigh more than you. You're going to not want to take a match against me again. Fortunately, I never learned my lesson, and but that lesson hasn't sunk yet. But he is good, and he's always have the matches where it eliminates himself, but eliminates someone else too. Not stalling wise, but he's so good at just keeping constant pressure, but not giving up to where he loses, if that makes sense. And so I think that's whoever, if they play him, if the goal is not to get a submission, the goal is just to eliminate someone, like, for example, Jake Lowry, that would be the best strategy in my opinion. I have to say, I don't have a side. I do have a side, and I won't say it, but if I were to mindset, I was the head of this team, that's what I would do, is I would try and take out Lowry through that. Because again, the controversial rule is if it's not the last person and it goes to a draw, both people are out, and if you're the last person and say it's the first second, like it was with Dempsey and me, that person's out if they go into overtime. There's no overtime. It goes into they're out. You know what I mean? It goes all the way down. And then the only overtime is if the last two people are in there. Right. So in my mind, I'd be like, if I was Wes, I'd be like, I'm like, we're gonna have to sacrifice Wes. I would put it in against someone gritty as well as him. Lowry would be that for my choice.
Yeah, well, and that's what's exciting.
That's where he'll be at is the hard part.
Yeah, no, this is exciting because they've got to figure this matchup thing out, right? Like, so, and it's gonna be tough. Like, if they don't know each other, maybe if they watch this before they go, we might give them some insight, or you're gonna basically give them the insight.
Yeah.
But the next one would be Justin Turner from Meta Jiu-Jitsu.
I've gone against him twice.
Okay.
Once in 2016, I was freshly new purple belt in the gi, and I told him that because he didn't remember me, and he was like, "In the gi?" He's like, "That must have been a long time ago then." He's no gi guy only now, and he toe holded me. I wasn't very good with leg locks, still working on it. But then we went against each other at the Fuji in Charleston, and that was a way more competitive match. Justin is very mine and him match, I felt like it was like Gary Tonin versus Gary Tonin. It was like two monkeys rolling with each other. But he was very stronger. He was stronger, and I had the gas tank. You know what I mean? So he dominated me in the beginning, and I got in the end, I ended up losing, but I was making a comeback at the end. He's a good dude, man. He's good. You know what I mean? I'm glad he's competing. I'm excited. I imagine him against Matt Schaefer, who he loves, by the way. So that'd be see two good dudes go at each other. Him against Isaac. Him against Lowry, even any match, it's just like, golly, I want to see how that plays out, Well,
yeah, and then the final two, I'm going to name them at the same time because they're brothers. But Samuel and Nathan Hedrick are awesome, man. Like they've been kicking butt for years.
Nate's on this big training kick right now. Started his own gym.
Yeah, that's what I don't know which one. If it probably is not even appropriate to say which one we thought was better, but I don't know if one of them's better. They're both very talented, very very.
Both kick my ass, but I'll tell you my opinion. I think Sam is the better brother, but I think they're both very good. Sam, he had that match against Roger Bowling from The Ultimate Fighter, and Roger Bowling's, I don't accuse anyone of steroids, but that dude is big, and Sam did good, Sam did really good. And, he is very smothering in your face, systematic. I swear they study the honor her system. Like, they're so systematic with everything. And Nate, he choked me out in like a minute, made a mistake, capitalized on it. I've watched him compete a couple times. He went against Dempsey. Again, any match those guys have, it's, good luck to the Math Factory. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be exciting. I think if someone is coming to watch, I think they should make an effort to come see this quintet. And I don't normally say that because the last one I thought, especially with people pulling out, I don't know what's going to happen with this. But this one is a team that I don't imagine will pull out. And if they do, well, me, I'll step in last second. Oh no, not against Matt Factory. Not again. That was a terrible day for me. But I think people should. I'm not worried about it. I think people should come see it because it is it's a very lot closer than it'll be the last time. I think it's a better representation of West Virginia Jiu-Jitsu.
I think so too. And no, I think you hit the nail on the head. And I do to what you're saying too. I do think live is the way to go. Like, we're going to stream this, but every time we stream it, there's always issues. Like, for example, I'm running the tournament or somebody's filming and not really paying attention. You know what I mean? Like, this is not who's number one or, something on Flow Grappling. You know what I'm saying? We got a tournament to run. So, and again, I don't mean that in a bad way. We'll put it up there. We'll have some stuff, but I think watching this, sometimes your camera angles aren't the best, this and that. You want to see this live, and you want to, support these guys. And listen, man, for those guys, winning $750 is going to be a big deal. I mean, it's not like a ton of money, but for what they're doing, coming in, just having one other match to get to get to the championship. Again, there's other people going. This is I think a big deal. This is going to be cool. I'm excited. Hopefully everybody else is.
Yeah, I am too. I couldn't be more excited. I'm hoping to get down there if I can.
Yeah, we hope so too. And
Yeah.
you've always done a good job reffing it. When it, quite honestly, most of the time it takes care of itself. These guys are so good that it's
Yeah.
not like we're doing a lot of work,
Yeah,
right?
it's the easiest job in the world for me, so
Yeah.
but yeah, I
Well, I
think
look forward to it, man. And actually, I'm gonna get ready to talk. I just texted. So sorry when you're talking to me. If I look like I'm down, Isaac was texting me. So
I don't
yeah,
know. I gotta start getting ready for my practice. So
yeah. Well, listen, man, we're just a few days away. I wanted to talk about this first, but there's nobody better to talk to about these people than you. I mean, because you've competed against most of these guys, you've seen them in a bunch of the tournaments. Really, it's like having an expert person right here. You're the Daniel Cormier of the WVGO right now, as far as analytics go. The only difference is I don't think you have a hated person like John Jones, so you can't be like F that guy.
yeah,
Yeah, we hope all of them win. That's the other great thing about this is a very important competition, but every single person on both teams really respect each other. And I think afterwards, you're going to see a bunch of guys get together and be happy, give each other five, give each other hugs, and then probably compete in the other divisions, which is also going to be cool because now you're going to have a bunch of that black belt division could really take off, right? If they all jump in there, or if they even do the no-gi besides this, man, it's going to be really stacked, man. I look
yeah. I
forward to it.
imagine Roby, if they're making the trip, they're gonna be down there. That's what part of me, I'm like, I don't even know if I really want to come. I don't want to go against these guys some more. Yeah, these guys are so good, man. And I'm just like, but like I do want to watch it, so I'm like, maybe I'll come. And Isaac messaged me, he's like, you coming down? And I was like, maybe. And then I had a 25K schedule, but I don't know if this is such a good match. I'm like, damn, man. Do I run 18 miles at home, or do I go 3 hours and watch these people, some good jiu-jitsu for our region?
Yeah. Well, and that's the best thing. I think that's the part that we're missing, or not really missing, or maybe other people are not thinking of, is this is going to, in my opinion, maybe the highest level grappling that's ever been in West Virginia that I know of. And that's not to slight anybody else. This is a 5-on-5 tournament. And I don't, maybe I'm missing something, but in my opinion, some of the best grapplers it's ever, other than, obviously we did the ADCC trials with Gordon Ryan and all them were there. We'll just pretend that never happened. We'll say these are the best ones that have ever been here. So anyway, thanks for doing this, man. I know it was like last minute, but I appreciate your opinion and everything you said, man.
No worries. Yeah, thank you for having me. If you ever want, I like doing these breakdowns. You got me like, I was thinking earlier, I actually really like looking to these guys. So, I mean, if we do super fights or something, let me know, because I'll definitely get more involved on that side. I kind of want to take that role too. I think that'd be kind of the Elijah Thacker role.
Yeah, no, I actually 100%. So it's a done deal. So after this, let's get on it and let's do some cool stuff, man. So I appreciate you, man.
So, all righty, man. Well, thanks for having me, and I'll talk to you. If I make it down Saturday, I'll see you Saturday.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Good luck at practice, man.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Zach. Appreciate you.